The story begins, and we notice 4 friends at the party. Among them the name of the girl was Gemma. They committed to staying together forever and enjoying each other's company. Their other friend arrives and gives them drugs and the party begins. A boy takes a picture that was set up on a table in the meantime. His name was Felix. He actually likes Gemma but could never tell her. Meanwhile, Felix's friend comes and asks him to tell Gemma that he loves her and wants to marry her. But Felix was quite afraid and refuses to do this. Later, Felix's friend gives him the drugs. He goes to Gemma after becoming drunk and tells her I like you. Later, she states, I don't think about you in this way. You're a good boy and will find a good girl. Hearing this, Felix leaves after his heart hurt. Later, they all play the game named Truth or Dare. Speaking the truth after deciding on the truth or taking action after deciding on a dare. Later, Gemma's friend spins the bottle that stops at Felix. Later, she asks if you get time to spend with a girl for the whole day. She later gives him a piece of paper and asks him to place it on the girl whom you want to choose. Felix goes and puts the piece of paper on Gemma afterward. Watching this, Gemma's friend doesn't like this. He rags. He then goes and barely punches Felix. Felix as a result feels humiliated and moves on. After several years, Gemma and her few friends are seen leaving for a party. That was Felix's birthday party to which she invited them all. Later, all her friends reach there, and they become happy to see each other after a long. When they look around they find no one. Later they make noise but no one comes there. Meanwhile, an old man in the car comes and informs them. Felix is waiting for you all in his old house that is situated at some distance. I'll drop you in my car there. Gemma's friend refuses and says no thanks, we would instead go for a walk. They eventually arrived at Felix's old house by walking. There, they meet Felix's brother and they all enter inside. They become shocked to see that there is nothing like a party in the house. Later, Felix's brother arrives and tells them that Felix is not there. Felix left for the city to carry out a task. He wanted to come but he couldn't because of that task. I'm sorry I didn't inform you earlier about this. After saying this, he offers them wine. Shocking thing was that there was no bus, no station, no police station where they stayed. Gemma's friend asks Felix's brother, what do you do? He tells him that I'm in the army and these days I'm on leave. They all were drunk there except Gemma and her friend Jenny. Felix's friend says let's play with a balloon and Felix's brother says I've something better, let's play Truth or Dare, and Felix's brother spins the bottle and it stops at Jenny. She chooses Dare, and she was asked to hug Gemma and she completes it. Later, he again spins the bottle that stops at Gemma, and she chooses the Truth. Her friend asks will you marry me, and she rejects. Later, Felix's brother spins the bottle that stops at him, and he chooses the Truth. Felix hasn't gone outside the city but he has actually taken his life. But no one believes him and asks him not to joke. He claims that I'm not joking, he hanged himself in this home. Killing oneself is a sign of shame in our family, therefore we kept it a secret that Felix has killed himself. Felix's friend asks if Felix had killed himself. Why did you call us? Felix's brother says I want to know the truth that what happened that night. When you played Truth and Dare, something happened at that party 2 years ago. By saying that he brings out a piece of paper and asks who had sent this paper to Felix. This paper was found in his pocket and it has very immoral language for my brother. For this reason, he has taken his life, and it is also written that Truth and Dare game is useless. Hearing this, Gemma's friend says I don't understand anything and I'm going. Felix's brother stops his way and says you can't go anywhere. After saying this he attacks and kills him. Later, Jenny attacks Felix's brother with a bottle, and he slaps her. She falls as a result of this. Later, after pointing the gun at them he says, you can't go anywhere. He shoots Gemma's friend's leg and begins to call the police. Seeing this, he shoots his hand with his gun and he becomes injured. He binds everyone up with chairs, except Felix's friend. He asks them to play truth and dare again. He spins the bottle once again, and when it reaches Gemma, she chooses truth. He asks her who according to you had sent that letter to Felix that had immortal language. She says I don't know, and he slaps her and asks again. She tells him her best friend's name who'd proposed to Gemma for marriage. Hearing this, Gemma's friend clearly rejects this, that he didn't send this. Later, he spins the bottle and it comes at Gemma's injured friend who chooses the dare. To fulfill his dare, Felix's brother brings a table, on which he keeps 2 jars, one of water and the other of acid. He lays Gemma down and then places a pipe in her mouth. He asks Gemma's friend to choose one, and Gemma's friend chooses water. In this way, Gemma's life was saved. Later, Felix's brother spins the bottle, and it stops at Jenny. She chooses truth and Felix's brother asks her to assign a test to any of her friends. She denies and Felix's brother says if you don't assign anyone, you'll have to give a test. Hearing this, she becomes afraid and chooses Gemma's friend. He was laid down and a pipe was fixed in his mouth. He asks Gemma's injured friend to choose the jar, and when he chooses Felix's brother starts it. He chose the acid and as a result, Gemma's friend brutally died. He again spins the bottle and meanwhile, another friend of Gemma comes. Felix's brother goes there and asks him why didn't come. You may come now. He responded, no, I'll come at a different time, I have work to do. Felix's brother attacks him, and the man sprays his eye. Later, after putting 3 bullets in the gun, he gives it to Felix's friend after rotating it and says, I'm not sure when the pistol will hit, and you fired it at me once and later at Felix's companion. Later, he hits the gun at Gemma's friend, and unfortunately, he was hit by the bullet and he dies. On the other side, Gemma opens her hands and she runs. She has come to that house where they stayed earlier, but no one was there. He was on his bed because he got paralyzed and could only move his eyes and fingers. She says that you must be enjoying this all. He was watching where his brother was beating them because cameras had been installed there. Felix was watching this all. Later, she asks for the phone, because he likes her, so he tells her. But it was useless because all the connections were lost. Gemma becomes upset because of this all. She goes and asks a question from Felix, and she learns that Felix's condition isn't because of that attempt to take his life but because of his brother. Meanwhile, the old man arrives and after pointing the gun at Gemma he asks her to bend. Gemma goes under the bed and from the other side, she points a blade at Felix's throat. Gemma asks that old man, if you don't keep this gun aside, I'll cut Felix's throat. After hearing this he keeps the gun aside and goes. Later, after holding the gun, Gemma leaves, but the old man comes and attacks her. During this all, the gun fires and he dies. Meanwhile, Felix's brother arrives and begins to find Gemma in the house. On the other side, Jenny opens her hand and asks for the drug. When Felix's friend gives her, she cuts his finger and separates it from the hand. Later, he beats her, but because her hands were open, she pushes him away. He falls to his death after tripping over the bottle with his foot. Later, Jenny frees herself and Gemma's friend. When she sees him while taking the gun, Gemma shoots Felix's brother, but not a single shot hits him and he escapes. After killing Gemma he brings Felix to the old house where Jenny and her friend were. Felix's brother returns later and finds Jenny and her friend free. Jenny hits him with the gun, and the bullet hits him in the arm, and falls down. When Jenny approaches him to shoot him, he stabs Jenny's arm with a knife. And Jenny's target was missed. She was agonizing with pain, but she manages to bring out the knife and Felix's brother begins to suffocate her. She was about to die but a friend stabbed his feet with a knife. Later, Jenny stands and throws the acid jar at Felix's brother. His one side burns as a result, and after tying him up, Jenny asks her friend to go into the car. But her friend couldn't walk. While crawling, he reaches the car. I have to step in here since the story's narrator skipped a particular scene from the movie. Finally, everything begins to reveal the truth, and she reveals everything. Many years ago, when all of our friends played the truth and dare game while having a party, that night, I sent that abusive letter to your brother about what you asked us. Additionally, I recorded an immoral video of your brother that night. As he was drunk, so I didn't feel any trouble. I felt this all amusing and I really enjoyed this. This all was just fun for me. I really enjoyed this, and this all remained normal after that night. Everyone believed that Felix attempted to take his life as a result of the insults and joking of his friends. It wasn't like this, it was just a fun as friends often have. The problem arose when Jenny sent that immoral video to Felix to get the money. Felix doesn't know about this. In exchange, while blackmailing him, she asked for some money, otherwise, I'll upload this video on the internet, and will also send it to your brother. For this reason, Felix attempted to take his life because he belonged to a rich and renowned family. He doesn't want his brother to know about it. He was quite terrified of his brother and doesn't want others to have a negative opinion of him. Even in the midst of his hardship, his brother grows enraged with him, as he has defamed their family reputation. Felix begins to cry, and Jenny, after leaving the video turned on, after keeping a bomb in Felix's hand, she leaves and sits in the car. Felix feels ashamed after watching the video. The bomb's pin slips from the finger that works and a blast exploded there. In that explosion, Felix and his brother die. After taking the car, Jenny leaves toward her house. The movie ends with this: "Thanks,